Hi, everybody. Welcome to More Impact Summer Series hosted by Career Coffee Chat Live, where casual coffee conversations empower lives and careers. I've got my coffee, and I'm your host, Erin Urban. Today, I'm sharing insider secrets of what they never told you about the power of your mind and how you wire your brain for success. So, if you're excited to tune in, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook today. Let's just make sure we are live here. Yay, we are indeed. And this is one of the few live shows that actually come with a warning. That's right. If you don't want to have the power to create authentic success on your terms, my friend, this is not really the show for you. However, if you are interested in how to unlock your fullest potential and enjoy more impact with less stress, then you're in the right place. So come on in. Don't be shy. Say hi. Share your thoughts in the comments, whether you're tuning in live or watching the replay. I want to welcome you to the show. After all, this is for you. This is not just because I like hearing myself talk. No. If you're tuning in for the first time and want to learn more about the summer series or the Career Coffee Chat Show, you're welcome to visit my YouTube channel. For more resources and a link to take the Zone of Genius indicator, check out the comments or resources on YouTube if you're tuning in from YouTube. My friend, let's go ahead. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and dive in to a conversation that honestly I normally only have with clients. Let's learn more about what they never told you about how your brain works, why we think and speak, I wouldn't say backwards, but we definitely think backwards, and what to do about it, and how we speak in ways we sabotage ourselves and what to do about that too, as well as how to reduce stress and easily access more IQ or EQ, creativity, calm, confidence. I could keep going, and I'm not. Now, as you tune in, I'm sure that you've heard how important mindset is. Yeah, we know that. Okay, mindset, right, got it. You may already have an idea of how critical it is for success. Okay, yeah. The challenge is how we view the popularized version of what we call mindset and how that drifts us away from the very real science of the brain, sometimes actually inhibits us from accessing that very real science. So today, my friends, we'll discover simple tools to open up your life for more opportunities. Ready? Because here's the deal. More I research, apply, and receive stunning results, the more I wonder, why isn't this information shared on the common media? Why don't more people know about this? Why isn't this something I learned in high school? Come on, give me a break. It would have made my life a lot easier. Regardless, this is your opportunity to unlock those powers of your mind. So as you tune in, whether you're watching live or the replay, take a few moments to share what you're most interested in learning today so I can be sure to help cover your questions. Because after all, again, this is for you. This is not for me. This is you. So hop in, share your comments, what you want to learn today. And I'll also share with you while you're thinking about that, why gratitude is so important. We've heard it's important, but why does it really mean? And no, this is not an entire show around gratitude. That's not what this is about. We'll also learn why they say, be careful what you're saying or listening. Like, be careful what you focus on, or you'll get what you focus on. Why do these phrases, why do they exist? And why are they game changers, in fact? Now, if we're honest with ourselves, we know these things. We've heard them, we know them. But sometimes when they become kind of like common knowledge, like, yeah, we are a little dismissive of them. And this may mean we're not always as intentional with our actions as we could be. And another reason we're not as intentional about our actions as we could be is because we honestly probably have no idea about the actual, genuine, tangible power we possess. Now, if you have a problem with what I just said, feel free to reach out privately because that might mean something else is going on. Stay tuned because you'll learn what that might mean. But we're conditioned to believe we're disempowered in the very areas that we have a great deal of influence. Well, before we get started, let's start off with number 3. how to reduce stress and easily access more EQ, IQ, creativity, calm, confidence, clarity, prioritize better, make better decisions. Anyway, if you've been feeling a bit of demotivated lately or a little overwhelmed, there's a very good reason why you have this feeling, and it's not just you. In fact, 89% of the respondents in one of my latest, more informal studies reported feeling off or frustrated, unproductive at the end of the workday. Because we're bombarded by so much information every single second of the day, it fatigues the brain. Additionally, we don't always allow ourselves to pause and reflect. We fill every waking moment with something to do because we've been told that's what we should be doing. And quite honestly, we probably have put way too much on our plates. Either we have or someone else has that we can really reasonably get to. But the combination of these two factors, in addition to the continued uncertain socioeconomic environment, is an ideal mixture for burnout and emotional exhaustion. And there's a very simple technique to break this cycle of stress and shift into a more productive, calm, clear, and confident mode. I want to say hi to a few people that say tuning in. Hey, Cheryl, great to see you tuning in. Great to see you, Sarah. Good to see you tuning in. And again, as you tune in live or if you're watching the replay, don't be shy. Say hi. Let me know what's important to you based on how to wire your brain for success and what you'd like to learn. Because again, it's for you, my friends. Now, how to shift out of the cycle of success and into a more productive, calm, and confident mode is something I call the power pause, and it has 2 steps, right? Before I see those 2 steps, let's see. We have Elizabeth. Hey, Liz, how are you going? She says, yes, please, on the up and down job search roller coaster. That's not stressful. She wants to create a job search that's not stressful. Yes. All right, stay tuned. You're in the right spot. Great to see you as always. Okay, so it's the power pause. And there's a really good reason why we're starting here, which I will wait until later to tell you about. But it has 2 steps. First, the power pause itself is literally a pause. It's very simple. It takes maybe 2 minutes and it has 2 steps. The first step is a simple breathing technique that tells your body to shift out of the stress, oh my God, cycle and into the parasympathetic nervous system, which lowers cortisol, stress hormone, and opens up access to your reasoning mind, which is reduced when you're under stress. In fact, if you're under stress, chances are you can't communicate very clearly or well, you can't access your creative brain, and curiosity is just not happening. It's just not something that coincides when you're in the stress cycle. Your brain isn't wired that way. You can be in stress or you can be creative and curious, innovative, but the 2 don't coincide. So for those of you who are out there wanting to be more innovative and creative, guess what? You need to do this. Okay. Second, we leverage our physical body. So the first step is breathing. The second one is we leverage our physical body, which is always present. Our physical body has no concept, past, future. It's always in the present moment, which is honestly the only time we actually have. Anyway, we leverage our physical body to bring us to the present moment and clear our mind while developing more mental command. So the power pause. Let's get started. All right. If you want to do it with me, great. If you don't, you're not going to hurt my feelings. But it's a great opportunity for you to try it out and see if it works. So step number 1 is breathing. It's called the physiological side. Don't ask me why they call it that. That's just what they call it. So first you take a deep breath in all the way down to your diaphragm, all the way down to the diaphragm into the nose first. And then you open up your mouth to take that last bit of oxygen in and then exhale slowly through the mouth. So inhale first. Now you can do that as many times as you want. And you may have noticed that my speech pattern slowed down a little bit and got a little bit more crisp. I didn't do that intentionally. It just is a byproduct of that extremely simple breathing technique. Now, how do you feel? If you did that with me, pop in the chat. How do you feel? What's going on? It's a very simple breathing technique and also reduces something called oxytocin, which is a feel-good hormone, into your bloodstream. In addition, fun fact, oxytocin actually counteracts the addictiveness of dopamine. We've all heard how addictive and bad dopamine is. You know, you get that when you're scrolling on your smart device. Dopamine actually exists because it's something you get when you you complete a task, right? It's a task completion. So it encourages the brain to get things done. Unfortunately, it also helps to be really addicted to apps on your smart device. But oxytocin, when you get more of that, hugs also give you oxytocin. If that's not your jam, then just a simple breathing technique, right, is amazing. So let's see. Listen, my shoulders, stop touching my ears. Yes, Liz, you're like me. Whenever I get stressed, I'm like, here, let me know if that's you, because I'm always checking in during the day. I was like, okay, where's my shoulders? Are they up here? Where are they at? So that's really important. So step 2 is a simple act of hyper focusing all of your senses on one aspect of a sense. So you could, depending on your style, if you're a very visual person, you could really focus on something with great attention to detail, just noticing the color and the shape and the sheen and the texture of that thing. If you're more tactile, maybe you just rub 2 fingertips very slowly together with such great attention to detail that you actually notice the fingertip ridges on your fingers. And you're focusing all of your attention just on that act. Now, if you prefer, you can instead just notice your breathing, not to control it, but just notice it. Or if you're auditory, maybe you listen to something with great attention to the sound quality. We like the fingertip rubbing technique because it's something that we can obviously have readily accessible. And if it's a sound, maybe we don't know if that sound's going away. We don't want to create more stress. So those 2 things, the physiological sigh, shifting out of the stress cycle into the parasympathetic nervous system, and focusing all the attention on physical sense. This act, what it does, it's like pressing the reset button on your computer. For those of you who are familiar with this, if you press the reset button on your computer, it dumps something called the cache. Well, it kind of dumps your mental cache, all that clutter, all that noise, all the things that are getting in the way of you being able to prioritize, think clearly, and know what to do next. When you're very stressed and you're, like Liz just said, your shoulders touching your ears, then chances are these things are not as accessible to you. And this very simple act takes less than 2 minutes. Everybody has 2 minutes to do, less than 2 minutes to do, makes an amazing shift. Okay. And one of the main, before I get there, it dumps the mental clutter. It helps you prioritize better, make better decisions, and access more memory. It also opens up your curiosity, your creativity, and access more memory. That's right. All these things have been proven through science. And that's all you have to do, literally. Now, people ask me, well, how often do you do this during the day? I do it around 3 times a day. And the reason is because over the day progresses and things happen, we may lose focus of our priority, or maybe we've got some mental chatter going on. It's a great idea to just check in. You go, okay, how's my breathing? How's the mental clarity? And that also maintains peak cognitive function throughout the day, because if we don't break, if we're just like push, I got to get this deadline done, I get this report out, or what have you. If we're doing that, chances are over time, your cognitive function actually declines. Research has proven this. Well, what do we need to do to make sure we maintain peak cognitive function? Do nothing for about 2 minutes. I know, we're a hyper do something society. I get it. And take a deep breath, sunshine. It'll be okay. That act of doing nothing for 2 minutes, is revolutionary in your day. I've had clients tell me that they've had major breakthroughs with people that they don't like in the workplace. I've had clients come to me and tell me that they've had major self-awareness breakthroughs. I've had clients come to me and tell me, oh my God, I used to fall asleep on my keyboard, after about 2:00 in the afternoon. And now that's not happening anymore, just by doing this. And one of the reasons that we do this exercise first in our conversation today is because, surprise, it opens up the areas of the brain that govern curiosity and creativity, which is a prerequisite for something called neuroplasticity, which is your ability to accept and form new ideas, new ways of being. It's very, very exciting. And one psychologist said neuroplasticity was the hope for humankind. I believe that person is correct. And what's interesting is when we're scrolling on those smart devices, we're being shown more of what we already know, which is reducing our ability to see new things. Anyway, because what I'm about to share with you may differ from your understanding of how the world works, or might just be new information in general, this exercise is super important for you to be able to leverage your own discernment during our conversation today. So that's why we started at the end first, which leads me to my main topic, what they never told you about the power of your mind. Now, you've probably heard, like I mentioned before, that what you focus on is important. Yes, right? So why do you think that is? You want to share that in the comments. So while you're commenting on that, I'll share with you a bit how your brain works. You see, amongst other amazing things, your brain is a highly advanced filter. You receive around 11 million bits of information per second. That's a lot. Now, how many of those bits do you think you consciously process? You receive 11 million bits of information. How many of those bits do you think you consciously process? Percentage, a number, throw it out there. Go ahead. Go for it. Give me a number or a percentage, whatever you feel comfortable with. 11 million bits of information per second. That's what you receive. How many do you consciously process? And there isn't a right or wrong answer, by the way. Nobody gets it right. Unless you've heard me before. And then you might. Okay. Well, everybody's being shy. So I'll give you the answer. Okay, fine. We only process between 4 to 14 bits per second on average. That's right. 4 to 14. Not 4,000, not 14%. 4 to 14 bits per second. Now, that's still a lot, to be fair. And that's a massive delta. Why? Well, we're not equipped. Our brains aren't equipped to handle all the data our senses receive. They receive a massive amount of information. So in order to manage this, the brain has developed a network composed of, in part, what's called the RAS, or the I had this problem before. Reticular activating system. Say that 3 times fast. That's the reason they call it the RAS, okay? So you don't have to say that, which helps you focus your attention on tasks and get things done. So that's the job of the RAS. It helps you focus your attention, also governs wakefulness and sleep and those sorts of things. But part of what it does is help you focus your attention on tasks and get things done. So it filters out stuff so you can, function, which is good. Just don't try to say it very fast. As a byproduct, we're only consciously made aware of things that fit your perspective, mental tone, what you expect, and what you think is important, and aligns with your version of the world. Why is that? Well, your brain has to prioritize based on something. So that is over evolution, right, wrong, or indifferent, how it prioritizes. It prioritizes based on you, what you decide is important, what your mental tone is, what your mindset is, what your perspective is that morning when you woke up and your dog ate your shoes, right? So what you expect, your worldview, that's what it decides to focus on. Now, if you are curious about this, and I've used this analogy before, and it's true, if you've ever been in the market for a new vehicle, let's say, you're looking for a new car, and all of a sudden you see it everywhere. It's not because they made more Toyota Camrys, although there's a lot of them. It's because your brain is filtering in all the Camrys instead of filtering it out because they're not Hyundais or whatever you had before, right? That's an example of the RAS at work. So, in addition to that, your brain is also out to prove you right, even if you aren't. Remember that one. The problem with this filtration is if we're not intentional about our mindset, your perspective, what you focus on, particularly focusing on what you want versus what you don't, and we don't challenge our thinking, then you aren't shown the options otherwise. It's kind of like having a built-in algorithm. Yeah. So let's just say, for example, you don't really believe that you'll get a promotion at work. Okay. I run across this a lot. I work with people in career advancement, leadership advancement, professional success, Entrepreneurs, I mean, let's just say the entrepreneur doesn't really believe that they're going to get more business. Whatever it is, your brain, number one, is out to prove you right. So you filter out what you decided is a priority based on your worldview. So if you've decided, really believe, truly in your heart of hearts, that probably not going to get that promotion, chances are you're not going to be shown opportunities otherwise. Also, your brain's will drive all your micro actions to elicit what you're focused on, right, wrong, or indifferent. Your brain doesn't care whether it's not really what you wanted, it's what you're focused on. Keep that in mind. Don't freak out. There's an antidote here. So for those of you who are going, wait, what? Oh my God. Don't freak out yet. It's okay. Freak out later. But do a power pause so you don't freak out. But I've actually witnessed clients actively ignore exceptional opportunities because their belief system said otherwise. I had a client, and this was the worst case I've ever seen of a RAS at work. And no, I'm not saying the full thing. Reticulating activating system. Anyway, whatever. I saw this once, and it was pretty dramatic. So she believed that she in her heart, I could tell over coaching conversations, that she wasn't leadership material in corporate environments. She didn't feel comfortable with that. Based on her belief system, that was just not something that was accessible for her. Now, it was complete baloney. It was BS. It wasn't true. It had no basis in fact at all whatsoever. She was completely capable. In fact, when I showed her proof based on her career trajectory, okay, well, you've been able to accomplish this, and you've done all the things that you say that you're not capable of doing, she freaked out. She freaked out. Her system, that was called reality testing, and basically locked it down. This does not agree with my worldview. Locked it down. She called me a liar. She called me a lot of things. It wasn't pleasant. And then once she was done freaking out, because I knew what was happening. At first, it was a little shocking because I've never had that bad a response before when you challenge somebody's worldview of themselves. After she was done, I told her, I said, the only reason I'm still here is because I know what's happening right now. And this is counter to how you see yourself. So when you've had some time to calm down, I would encourage you to consider that what I've shown you is fact, and it's counter to your true belief that you're not going to make it in corporate at this level, at this leadership level. So she went away and she calmed down and she came back to me. She actually sent me an email because that's less confrontational, I'll just cuss somebody out. So I don't want to talk to her. Send me an email. She's like, oh my God, I thought about it. You're right. Do you still want to talk to me? Of course I do. So she came around and eventually did. Actually, now she's senior vice president, in fact, doing great. She had to go through that and counter that very firm belief system. But if it had been left unchecked, and let's just say I didn't know what was going on, well, her brain knew that I was her chance at achieving this level. So if she accepted that and accepted my help, well, then that meant what she believed was false, and the brain can't have that. I know it sounds crazy. This is how it works, my friends, okay? So the system can be bypassed because coaching, for one, is a catalyst for neuroplasticity, and challenging your beliefs is also an opportunity to open up possibilities and opportunities that maybe you weren't even aware of, right? We're blind to our blind spots, but other people aren't. So this might be a lot of information. So let's give you an example. Let's just say that you see your mother-in-law as a negative Nelly, right? Chances are, even if she's having a positive moment or positive moments, your brain will be on the alert for proof of your opinion of her. So it will be waiting, looking for any time she's negative. And if she says something positive, she go, oh, well, she's probably blah, 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 right? It will make up things to make sure that your belief is right, even if it's not. This, by the way, works in the workplace too. So it becomes a danger in the workplace as well. Leaders, for example, if you pass judgment on someone, or you, by the way, everybody's a leader, even if you don't have a title. But if you pass judgment on someone, it is difficult to see them in any other way. Additionally, how you respond to that person is guaranteed to elicit more of the same behavior you expect from them. That's right. Even if you're trying not to make that happen. This is why people become micromanagers without meaning to be. It happens all the time. The cure for this, by the way, is to see people with the potential. So you have to see people with the potential for either high achievement or whatever it is. It doesn't mean that they will do it, but you need to see them with the potential of it. This also doesn't mean you overlook poor performance or negative workplace behaviors. It just means you approach it differently. Oh, Liz, sorry, Liz, I missed your comment. She said 1%. You're right, but you've seen me talk before. So let me know how you're feeling about this so far in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are and how you see this applying or playing itself out in your life. Pop your thoughts in the comments, even if you're like, what the F? Can you go back to this point? That's fine. Because all of this goes for everything in your life, how you collaborate with your teammates, how you see yourself, how you approach asking for a raise, looking for a new opportunity, Liz, or positioning yourself for advancement, getting ready to have a conversation or avoiding a conversation because you believe that it's going to go wrong. Everything, even gardening. I know this has nothing to do with careers at all. And still, I have people come up to me. Now, yes, I was gifted with a green thumb, and all I'm looking at my poor plants out there in like 99-degree weather going, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best with them. And they're producing. I just picked 2 cucumbers today. I picked 8 yesterday. It's ridiculous. I'm going, it's producing another 12. Whatever. Why? People are like, oh my God, you have such a gift. And it's also a little bit of science too. If you believe that you don't have any ability with plants, what's the chances of you having some ability with it? This goes for everything because that's how your brain works. You receive 11 million bits of information. Your brain only processes between 4 to 14, and it does that based on your perspective, your mindset, how you see the world, and your mental tone that day. What you focus on, even if what you're focused on is not what you want. Yeah. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between right, wrong, indifferent, or sarcasm. It doesn't have that discernment ability. All it knows is it prioritizes based on what you're focused on. Full stop. It's a really good idea to do the power pause. So, your belief system, perspective, mindset, and the words you choose, okay, I'm reiterating, tell your brain what you want to have happen in your life. How can you manage this? Okay, this is how you manage it. Number 1, don't laugh. Gratitude. Gratitude is actually one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. It's free. Anybody can do it if you're healthy, brain and body. You can do it anytime you want. You don't have to journal. You just think about what you're grateful for. Best practice, first thing in the morning, because it establishes a healthier mental tone for each day. Make it a habit. Sounds super simple. I overlooked it for years. So if that's you, no judgment, okay? No judgment here. But gratitude is so powerful because, again, your brain chooses filtering based on what your focus is and what your mental perspective is. If you're establishing the ideal mental perspective, let's just say, you know what, I'm so grateful of the opportunities that are coming my way. Word choice matters. That's the next in the series, all about word choice. I'm grateful for the opportunities that are coming or that I have, even better. So it's an is moment. I'm grateful for these opportunities. And you feel the right emotional register. You're truly grateful in not only what you say or think out loud in your head, but in your heart as well, and what you feel. That has immense power because it sets up the right emotional register for the entire day. Okay. Number 2, power pause, frequent reflection. The thing about it is, here's a truth, and we actually have a genuine epidemic right now. And it kind of snuck up on us. Remember back in the ancient times when dinosaurs roamed the earth and pterodactyls were flapping around, before smartphones. Yes, that was meant to be funny. Before smartphones, what did we do when we waited for something other than run away from the brontosaurus? We were bored. That's what happened. We were bored. Bored. We were bored. Unless we brought something to read, we were bored. Now, when you wait for something, look around you. What happens? What do you see? What are you doing? You're on your smartphone. That's what's happening. Everybody's on their smartphone. I mean, you look around in the airport, everybody's here. No. Few people are listening to music, zonked out, but for the most part, people are looking at their smart device. There's a problem with this. And not because smart devices are evil. They're a great tool. However, there's a problem because we don't ever get, or rarely get, in our days, our average day, time to reflect. Time where your brain isn't occupied with something. Why is that important? I gave a big chat about this at the recent Gulf Coast Symposium for HR Issues. Actually, was it last week? It was last week. And it's real. It's a genuine epidemic. Because when your brain doesn't have that something to do, you reflect. How do you think you learn, my friends? By reflection. You don't learn through experiences alone. You don't go out and have an experience and poof, wow, that was great. No, it's kind of like when you go to the gym. You go to the gym and you're pumping iron, you're not building muscle right then. When do you build muscle? When you're resting. You never rest. Let's just say you pump muscle all the time, pump iron all the time. You would actually really seriously damage yourself. Okay, rhabdo, look that one up. Ooh, not good. So you would seriously damage yourself. That's happening to us right now. Not rhabdo, but kind of. We're not pausing to reflect. Even worse, we've been told through social programming, cultural norms, corporate programming, etc., that we have to fill every moment of every day, or else we are not productive people. If you're not productive, then you're a bad person. You're a bad employee. If you're not productive, you need to be doing something all the time. Whatever. Because when you're always doing something, you're always filling every single moment of your day, you don't have time to pause and reflect. And pausing and reflecting is how you learn, how you break out of a stress cycle, power pausing, like we did earlier, break out the stress cycle, how you challenge your thinking. If you don't challenge your thinking ever, chances are you'll have what's called cognitive drift. And cognitive drift isn't just losing attention or focus. It can be mental or mindset drift. So what that is you formed a wrong notion, or a notion that's in dissonance with reality, or at dissonance with how you want to be, and that builds up over time. Man, if you don't ever challenge that because you never have time to reflect, how do you think your day is going to go, or your life, or your week, or your year? Not so great. So having time to reflect is extremely important. If you remember nothing out of everything that I'm telling you today, gratitude, power pause. Start there. Seriously. Challenging beliefs is so important, and that's actually number 3. I already mentioned it. But seeking out different perspectives is really critical, or coaching, because it naturally does that. But challenging your belief structure is important. Do you know how many people I coach have a negative mindset about money that actually pushes away more money from them receiving more money? What? Yes, that's right. So if you were curious about this, think back to your childhood, because that's where our idea of the world is formed, in childhood. That's how we work, okay? It's working with what we have, the science of how we adapt and grow as people. All right. You look back there at childhood, what did you hear? A lot of people from middle-class America heard, well, money doesn't grow on trees, and words to that effect. Like, I can't believe you bought blah, 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 blah. We're strapped for cash, don't you know? You hear a lot of this. It develops a mindset around being strapped for cash. Now, some people had a very healthy money mindset, but a better part of a little over half don't, right? Now, number 4, you're in your cures. So we have gratitude, we have the power reflection or power pausing, challenging beliefs. And number 4, restrain judgment. Restrain judgment on yourself and others. Why is this important? We're meaning-making animals, and that's wonderful. However, we've taken it to a whole nother level. We're judgy people. We really are. We're so judgy. We're judgy about ourselves. We're judgy about others. Judge. We do this all the time. We do it naturally and unconsciously. It's important to be a little bit more intentional about it, or at least challenge your judgment. You're like, oh gosh, I just judged myself and how I showed up right then. Like when I couldn't say reticular activating system, still I could judge myself about that. Who cares? Call it a razz. Have a nice day. All right. But if you can't remember all of these, again, practice gratitude and power pausing, checking in with your mental tone frequently during the day. That's a huge step in the right direction because your brain will filter in or out based on your perspective, your focus, your intent, and your view of the world. Number 5, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Now you might think, oh yeah, I do that. Most people actually don't. They focus on what they don't want all the time. It's called worry. Which brings me to our last topic of the day, why we think and speak backwards and what to do about it. You've heard, be careful what you say, you're listening. Unfortunately, we don't really take this advice to heart. We don't want to believe that our words and our thoughts have that much impact on our lives. After all, it's like my friend and neighbor who said to me once, and she was serious, Aaron, I'm not going to listen to this. I just don't want to have to be responsible for what I'm saying. I just don't want to do that. This is a smart woman. Okay, she's smart woman. Cracks me up. I'm like, okay, it doesn't change it. Whatever you want to do, right? It's still the way it works. It's not as if you have to be super stressed and hyper vigilant every second of the day and judging yourself on whether or not you can say something on your thoughts or what you say. You don't have to be stressed and hyper vigilant all the time. On the other hand, you know when you're catastrophizing, which is blowing things out of perspective. You know when you're being negative, maybe even without all the facts, and you know when you're sabotaging your mindset. You know that. You're a smart, capable human being. You know it. All you have to do is simply notice and correct the direction of your thoughts. Be like, oh, that's not heading in the right direction. That's not where I want to go. I don't want to create more of that. Because what you're focused on is what your brain's like, okay, that's what we want to create more of. No, I don't want to filter in all that into my life. I want to filter that out. So practicing gratitude daily, power pausing will develop your mental muscles. If done regularly, you'll notice you'll suffer less from those negative mental drifts in the first place. It's great. It's also important to remember that your brain, again, prioritizes what you focus on. So why do I keep saying this? If you're focused on what you don't want, and again, worry is the number one culprit here, then your brain thinks that's a priority. It will filter whatever aligns with that trajectory of thinking. Your brain doesn't understand you don't want that. It doesn't understand sarcasm either. I cut sarcasm out of my being a while ago. It's just very toxic. It can be fun sometimes, but it's toxic. So it's important to check the concern cycle and not let it get out of hand. Focus on what you want. Feel the emotions you want to feel with whatever it is you want, and then let it go. Don't keep ruminating on it because you'll just destroy whatever good you just did there. Your word choices. Okay, I'm going to pause right there. What questions do you have? Because I've thrown a lot at you, and chances are you probably checked out after power pause. And you're like, oh, that was good. I'm having my coffee. I'm going to sit on the front porch. But let me know what questions you have. Even if you're tuning in later, the replay, doesn't matter. Let me know. What are your thoughts so far? What's going on in your head? Because I am throwing a lot at you. This is how your brain works. And having these tools allow you to wire it for success versus happenstance. Right? And as I wrap this up, words you choose matter. Chances are, if you are like me and everybody else, we have pet phrases. These are things we say habitually, probably without even thinking about them. They just fall out of our face. And some of them are probably fine. However, not all of them are great. Let's see, we have a question here. Liz says, focusing on what I want versus what I don't want is profound. Yes, it is. And that's my gift to you. All of this, by the way, is my gift to you. One of my talents is taking a vast amount of information from various sources and going and having it make sense, synthesizing it. When I said that last week, my husband looked at me and goes, "You're synthesizing your ideas? That is so corporate speak." He's right. It's like, okay, I'm pulling together my ideas so it makes sense, but that takes longer to say. But the words you choose matter tremendously. And we have a habit of choosing specific words and word groupings. I had a client, for example, who was in a habit of saying that she wasn't the brightest light bulb. It was just a little pet phrase she had, she thought she was being humble and cute. No. So it's little wonder that no one really took her serious. And interestingly, everybody else could see that she was sabotaging herself, but she really couldn't until I reflected it back to her one day during a coaching session. And she was like, oh, I said, well, given that your brain is out to prove you right, what do you think that you're doing right now? And there's a big one. We all use it all the time. I'm still using it. And I have a catalyst for it. So I'm going to save it until I have the catalyst, because when I tell you this, you might freak out. Wait. Be patient, my friends. So what you say to yourself out loud or in your head, about yourself or about others, what's damaging? Well, I'm not necessarily someone who gets all hung up on positive mantras. I'm great. But someone from Saturday Night Live, gosh darn it, you're worth it. Oh, what's the one? I can't remember. Somebody, if you can remember, pop it in the comments because it's great. Melinda says, hi, Melinda, good to see you. So if you remember the one from Saturday Night Live where he was playing the coach, and gosh darn it, you're worth it. That one, oh gosh, that was so great. Anyway, I'm not one that gets hung up on positive mantras. And they do have tremendous power when associated with the positive, genuine emotion. They actually do. When they come from, if you believe in chakras and all that, from the heart center, so positive emotion, truly connected, then they do have tremendous power because your brain believes what you say. It does. So if you say, oh, I could never grow tomatoes like you, the garden example, I'm getting that a lot lately because I'm producing tomatoes. I have 24 tomatoes in my refrigerator. Does anybody want tomatoes? They're really, really good too. So I'm not giving these away lately. I'm getting 10 cucumbers a day. Okay, knock on wood. I had to do that. That's a false belief system, by the way. That was that in action. But your words have power. So if you say, well, I don't know if they'll choose me for that promotion or whatever, it just comes out of your face. In most cases, just simply dropping these damaging phrases out of your habitual conversation is a huge step in the right direction. You don't need to change things or get fancy. And again, coming back to your brain likes to prove you right, filters out what doesn't agree with your worldview. Let's just say you're in a parking spot in a busy area. And for those people in Houston, for our Houstonites tuning in, the city center. You're in the city center. You're in a busy hub of shopping. You're trying to find a parking spot. Maybe you're meeting your group up for lunch, whatever. And you probably said, I never find a parking spot. Guess what? That's right. You won't. What if you practiced and said, I'm so fortunate with finding parking spots. Whenever I go to the city center, I know what's coming. I know that little saboteur in there is getting ready to go, I never find a parking spot. So what I go in is I adopt this neutral feeling. And I go, okay, I'm just visualizing finding a great spot. And I let it go. I find a great spot. Does your brain go out there and move cars around? No, of course not. It does, however, filter out a spot that maybe you would have seen otherwise. Oh, yeah, it has that much power. Let's just say you say, and there's a guy in my Lions Club meeting, I never win in anything. Well, don't expect to. Okay. So, my friend, what toxic phrases are you in the habit of saying to yourself, either to yourself or out loud? And you don't have to share that in the comments, but think about it. What falls out of your face sometimes that maybe doesn't help you? But don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed, my friends. I know you, like me, and all of us have had years to develop our habitual word choices, pet phrases, and so on. So it's not reasonable to expect instant change. Stamp our fingers and be different people. Poof, wouldn't that be great? I just went around with a magic wand and boop, bipped you on the head, and all of a sudden everything was perfect. Don't worry. If something falls out of your mouth and you think, oh God, what do I do? That's horrible. Don't panic. Don't panic. I am giving you the gift of what's called the flash reframe. The flash reframe. It is something that one of my neuroscience buddies shared with me a couple of years ago, and it's magic. Not really. It's science. Anyway, it's a huge relief. It's a game changer. Let's just say you said, like our example, I never find a parking spot. Add, except when I do. That's all you do. I never find a parking spot, except when I do. Let's just say instead, maybe that's not your jam. Maybe you just said a sarcastic comment. I have some sarcastic friends. Go figure, I found the spot farthest away. Except when I don't. It's called a flash reframe. Except when I do, except when I don't. You counter. What you do is all it does is it opens up possibilities for you again. It neutralizes the damaging priority you just gave your brain or the RAS, and it gives you a chance to see better things. So if something comes out of your mouth and you're just like, oh, can I get that back? Even if you think it out loud, just think, except when I do, except when I don't. It's beautiful. Now, here's a phrase we all say, and I'm saving it till after I gave you the flash reframe for a good reason. Here's a phrase we all say that is probably the most number one damaging phrase we could possibly ever say. And we all say it. Everybody. I don't know. I don't know, except when I do. I'm doing my best to weed out that free word phrase from my brain. I'm getting better. I've said it my whole life. So it takes a while. I've done a really good job of getting rid of the word B-U-T. So, but. Yeah. B-U-T is also not a great phrase. If I have to, I will say however or regardless instead of that, because what it does is say, let's just say you're talking to a colleague. This is a good one. What you just shared was really good, but. So that means what they just shared was crap and you're getting ready to correct them. That's what that means. The B-U-T takes everything you just said before that and goes, you may as well have not bothered. Why don't you just try to remove that one too? But those three words, I don't know except when I do, is majorly damaging. Because what it does, again, your brain is out to prove you right. It filters in or out based on your focus. And it takes what you say literally. If you say that enough, you won't. It's pretty serious. And you have a gift. It's called the flash reframe. You can accept when I do and accept when I don't all day long. Hey, it's great. It really is a game changer. Now, I know I threw a lot at you today, my friends. And your brain is an amazing tool, and I'm so incredibly glad that you joined me today to learn how to leverage it, this beautiful, complex organ to help you increase your impact and reduce your stress. and build mental command, reintroducing reflection, giving yourself brain breaks, and maximize your cognitive function. Oh yeah, those power pauses, they're a godsend. Really, they're seriously awesome because if you don't pause periodically, your cognitive drain goes right off the cliff. Your ability to think, make good decisions, and that's why people get crabby at the end of the day, make really crappy decisions. Later in the day, I actually did research on decision making, and they found that it drastically decreased, like about 5 p.m. the end of the workday. It was terrible. People just weren't making good decisions, and it's simply because you don't have the mental energy. It drops off after time. So giving yourself those brain breaks maximizes your cognitive function. And then we can be mindful of our mental tone and word choices, or at least adjust them with the flash reframe. Yay. So you are now more empowered to create the life you want by focusing on what you want, not being a victim to circumstance or wonder why you can't author a brighter future or things won't come your way. By the way, don't say that. And if you have any questions about anything I shared today, my friends, feel free to reach out. You can reach me at coachyurban.com or via LinkedIn. And those interested in discovering how this and other leadership tools help you or your teams thrive at a higher level, reach out. I provide workshops and one-on-one coaching to help you create success on your terms. It's always a pleasure to see you. Great to see you, Liz. We had Liz tuning in, Melinda, Sarah, Cheryl, and some other people also from Facebook and YouTube, and all those people who are like this and trying to listen to me. It's good to see you. Always a pleasure to see you. And until next time, my friends, keep elevating. Until next time, bye for now.